TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, and a very, very important video coming up for you today. We're going to be discussing the possible predecessor to Ernesto Valverde, and of course, if you're talking about a potential new Barcelona coach, that means that at some point, Valverde is not going to be here. Isn't that great? What a great way to kick off the video. It's all coming up. Ronald Koeman and more. Is he the right choice? Let's do this. Because I want to start, guys, by saying basically on the Ernesto Valverde front, I feel, this is my own personal opinion, I feel like this season it is extremely unlikely that Barcelona will step in, the Barcelona board. They're not going to step in during the season and sack Valverde. I don't feel like that is a possibility. I think now we've got Valverde and that's set in stone until the end of the season. But I do think right now, if you're asking me, will Valverde remain beyond the end of the season? I would actually say no, because I do feel as though Valverde's time at Barcelona could be coming to an end, and in the summer, we may be on the lookout for a new coach. But then, of course, it's like anything. You sort out one problem by putting Valverde out of the door, by taking him out of the managerial position. But then you've got the next problem of who do you bring in? Who's the right man to succeed Valverde and really shake things up at Barcelona and bring something new, bring something fresh? Is Ronald Koeman that man? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video, because over the last few days there's been increased speculation, there's been a number of reports both in Spain and in Holland about Koeman succeeding Valverde, and this summer that is definitely a possibility. Because one of the big sources in the Netherlands, De Telegraaf, came out just yesterday and they basically said in their report, everything right now indicates that Ronald Koeman will become Barcelona's new coach next season. The club has already spoken with the Dutchman last summer to talk about the possibility there of taking over after Euro 2020, which of course takes place in this coming summer. And it's very, very interesting because whenever Ronald Koeman is asked about this in press conferences, when he's there as the Netherlands coach, we all know about that Barcelona clause that he has in his contract. That's interesting. But whenever he's asked about it, he always says, no, nothing will happen there before Euro 2020. I'm here as the Netherlands coach until then. That's a big tournament for us. I'm not going to be leaving before then. But he never says anything about after. He's never said no. In general, he's never stopped there. He's just said no, not before Euro 2020. And just 2 days ago, he actually said, after then, it's a possibility that I coach Barca. And I think right now, reading between the lines, looking at what we've got, it seems like Valverde could be out the door come the summer, and certainly the man to come in the mind of the board is Ronald Koeman. And I do think, to be perfectly honest with you, if we did appoint Ronald Koeman in this coming summer, it would certainly divide opinion. There would be people who believe that Ronald Koeman could bring the good times back to Barcelona. But I also believe there would be a lot of people as well who are saying, look, is this the right choice? Is this really the best coach that we could have got out of everybody? Because I think right now, many of us sitting here right now, we would take literally anybody over Valverde. Anybody. Bring anyone in to save us from any more Ernesto Valverde. But that's just because what we've been driven to. We've been driven to have that kind of mindset because of the kind of football that we've had to sit through every single week now for far too long. But I think there, when the dust settles, when Valverde does go out the door, and when you sat there thinking rationally, who would you like to bring in? You'd probably say on balance, there are better choices out there. There are better options for Barcelona than Ronald Koeman. And although I do like Koeman, and I do admire his work, he's been very, very good in the Netherlands role just because he's better than Valverde. And believe me, I think he absolutely would be. Just because he is better, it doesn't necessarily make him the best man for the job. But look, I personally believe there's very strong arguments for Koeman. I do think that he would shake up that dressing room. I do believe he's a much stronger personality than Valverde is. But I can also see there would be some negatives there on that side. But the one thing that I would say regarding all Barcelona fans over the next few months, and particularly there at Euro 2020, what I would say is sit down and watch the Netherlands and see what they can do under Koeman himself. Not only the results, don't just look at the results, let's hear what the performances of this team. Look at their shape, look at the way they play, look at the mentality there of those players. Are they strong? Are they physically ready for these games? That's what you want to have a look at, because I think obviously Ronald Koeman's past at Southampton, at Everton, that is relevant, but I would actually say it's much more relevant there to look at his work with the Netherlands because he's got better players. And he is going to have very good players at Barcelona. At Southampton, at Everton, he had a few good ones, but he didn't have a full team there of the quality that he'll have at Barcelona, so it's a bit difficult really to judge exactly what he'd do. But I do want to talk about something now away from specifically Ronald Koeman, because we're going to leave that debate for some time. There's fors, there's against. I know certainly, like I say, people will be on both sides of that appointment. But I want to talk here about the Barcelona policy over the past few years. We've all noticed it, about only appointing coaches who've played for the club. Because I think right now, this is a major problem. We are obsessed right now with only hiring coaches who've played for Barca. And that, for me, is ridiculous. Because as soon as you do that, you're significantly narrowing your field. You're cutting down your options. And that's never a good thing. You want as much choice as possible. You want to be able to go out there, the biggest club in the world, and get whoever you want. You don't need them to be tied to Barcelona in the past. And I think it's holding us back. You can see it there with the appointment of Valverde. Yeah, he spent a season at Barcelona. But what does that even mean? Does that mean that he's going to come in and manage and be brilliant with the team? It doesn't. It doesn't guarantee everything. Just because you played with Barcelona doesn't guarantee results. And look, in some cases it works absolutely brilliantly, but it doesn't always work, and it's not going to work every single time, because I feel like right now we're ruling out perfectly good coaches, excellent tacticians, just because they've never played for Barca, and that doesn't really make sense to me. The only sort of reason I can put behind it right now, and the only feeling I get right now from the Barcelona board, is that's the safe option. That's what I've always associated with this board. They want to go for the safest possible option, and that for me, that was definitely why Valverde was appointed in the first place, because he was zero risk, he'd do what they said, he'd sort of be the steady man on ship, he wouldn't do anything drastic, the results wouldn't be terrible, he'd just get by. That's not Barca. Sometimes you've got to go and take that risk. Sometimes you've got to think outside of that box, and we've got to stop limiting our options when we're looking at coaches who've never played for Barca. Because what I would say is, some people will say, oh, the board are just being loyal to our club. They just want people there who get the club, who've got roots for the club, who've played there in the past. And yeah, in some cases, I would buy that. But talking about the board, you look at their policy at the club on the playing side of things, and suddenly you realise that's not the case. It's not because they're loyal to our roots. It's not because they care about Barcelona. Because you look at the playing side, you look at somebody there like Carlos Alenia. They're happy there just to cast him aside. You look at somebody like Ricky Puig, who's not been given an opportunity there, growing from within, promoting from within, looking at the players there who do understand the club, who have come through the system, who are Barcelona through and through. Do they care about them? Are they interested there in sticking to our roots? No, they're not. So they're not like that in coaches either. We shouldn't get those two mixed up. Barcelona board are very safe. And that's why I can see them this time around, again, going for a former player, going down that route. And ultimately there, just going for the safe option. And like I say, this is not necessarily against Ronald Koeman. This is going for any coach at all that we are going to be going with who does have those previous links to Barcelona. And it's just something really that over the past few years, it has really gotten to. Because yeah, people will say, well, once we did go outside of that, we hired Tata Martino and it was an absolute disaster. But it wasn't actually the worst thing ever. Yeah, you know, we didn't have a good season. He was sacked at the end of it. He agreed to leave, by the way. He actually had the dignity and the integrity there to say, look, I'm going to walk away. I've done what I can. But just because it failed once doesn't mean that it'll fail every single time. Just like the fact that it's worked in the past hiring ex-Barca players in Pep, in Lucho, again, that doesn't mean it's going to work every single time. Football is all about balance, and for me, the board have got to open up their eyes and be a bit braver. But finally, guys, I do just want to say, if Barcelona do go down the safe road, whether you're for or against Ronald Koeman, like I say, that's a debate for another time. If he gets closer, I'll be doing a much more in-depth video about exactly what he could bring. But if we did go down the safe option and maybe didn't like it, what I would say is, if that wasn't a good year, if Barcelona there in 2020 to 2021 didn't perform well, I wouldn't rule out that coach, whoever it may be, leaving that very summer in 2021. The reason for that is Bartomeu and his board could well be ruled out. They could be voted out in 2021, and they could be replaced, we're hoping so, by a brand new board. If that happens, the most likely situation is the new board come in with fresh ideas, with a real ambition there of starting a brand new chapter, and they could come in and get their own man. That's what usually happens when you have a new board, when you have a completely different hierarchy on board. They do want to do things exactly the way they want to. They'll start a new path and potentially hire their own coach. So believe me, guys, whatever happens in the near future, in the not so distant future, whatever happens, keep your head up high, because I'm guaranteeing to you, to everybody here, that maybe not right now, maybe not in a year's time, we don't know how long it's going to take, but I do believe change at Barcelona, it's coming. It is going to happen, and eventually we will get this great club back. And on that note, guys, please do leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about everything we have discussed in today's video on Ronald Koeman, on Ernesto Valverde, on the potential plans there of the Barcelona board? What do you make of him? And what alternatives would you put forward in the possible vacant managerial Barca role? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, I'll be back soon with some more videos. Thanks for your support. But until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.